Within the MRX, you also have the ability to go into the main menu and change some of your user functions. To do that, we simply scroll up on the screen and we choose our user options. Within user options, there are a number of things that we're able to do to make that machine yours and make it suit your specific site. We're able to change the language, which is defaulted to English when you first receive it. We're able to change the time, the date, and also the temperature scale that you may be using. For the Australian market, it is automatically defaulted to Celsius, so all of the temperatures that you would then be setting will always be using the Celsius rating. We're able to set our preheat temperature. Within our preheat temperature, it will always go slightly above where we're going to cook and then easily cycle down. So if I have the machine set to operate on a daily basis at 250 degrees, it will automatically preheat to 270 and then slowly drop down and maintain that 250 degree temperature that we're using on a regular basis. We're able to have our keypad activation. So again, to save power, if the machine's not in use, after 60 seconds, the keypad will slightly dull as far as the light goes to minimize the amount of power that's being used on the machine while it's in a standby mode. We can adjust the brightness of the screen. So in a kitchen where you're looking from a further distance away, you might need it to be quite bright. But if it's quite a compact area, again, you may be able to just turn that lighting down a little bit so it's not quite so overt to the customers standing on the other side of your counter. We're able to adjust whether the beep on the keypad when you're actually selecting things. Again, in some really noisy places, it's good to have that beep in place so as that you know that the button has actually been pressed and your selections have been recorded within the machine. We can increase or decrease the volume. In this scenario, we're in a fairly standard cafe environment, so a medium setting is fine. But if this was back of house and you had lots of other noisy equipment that was in operation, you may want to choose to have that volume set to high to ensure that people can hear when those buzzers are going off. Don't forget, you do have that visual cue of the screen flashing when a cycle comes to a conclusion as a backup if it can't be heard. We are able to allow manual cooking, should we want to, on saved programs. We're also able to set a PIN code. This restricts your staff being able to go into some of those areas where your program is actually being set. For many of your staff, you want them just to use the preset programs at the touch of a button. You don't want them to be able to go into areas where they can then change those programs, which may impact the consistency and output of that food product that you're trying to produce. We have opening door behavior. So we've currently got it set that every time I open up the door and close the door, the timer will restart. You can turn that off, so when they open the door, the program will actually cease to continue to run. We have our clean filter reminders. So we have to remove the filters to ensure that we don't get any grease build up within those filters that will restrict airflow into the machine. Now, depending upon how busy your site is, you can have that set to either a 7 days, every 90 days, every 30 days. We don't recommend that you turn it off, and you can also set the day that you would like it to be done. So you might find that a Monday morning tends to be a quieter morning in your week, so it's a good time to have that cycle need to happen at that time of the day when it's a bit quiet. You can change that to whatever you like, and once it's set and you exit back out of there, that then becomes the default. So every 7 days or every 90 days or every Monday morning, that cycle will come up on the screen to remind you to clean those filters and ensure that the machine's ready for use every time. The last two things we have a preheat warning. So the preheat warning we currently have turned off. We can turn that on. And the preheat warning is designed to ensure that the machine has to preheat before the machine is ready for use. We don't want staff to come in, turn the machine on, and when the machine's only half preheated, they're trying to start cooking product, because that will impact the output of the food that you're then going to be serving your customers. The last one that we have is our auto shut-off. Our auto shut-off allows us to set either 2, 4, or 8 hour increments. So if I haven't used the machine for 2 hours, it may be that breakfast service is finished and lunch hasn't started, and we have this window of time where it's not in use. the machine will automatically switch off rather than being in a standby mode. If you don't want that to occur, you simply leave it in the never position and the machine will lower its cycles, but it will always be ready to use the minute a customer comes in and orders some products. All of those settings can be found within the user options, and they generally would be set up once you first receive the machine and you're getting it ready for your site.